Insects and elements. Two of them at least. What could this mean? Well, it's Marvel Team Up, baby! Hey there, welcome to another intriguing and introspective episode of Kevin's Commentary on Comics. Well, we've got a good one this week as Spider-Man teams up with Yellowjacket and the Wasp. It's a two-parter, so be sure you subscribe right now. And even if you haven't, why not go ahead and give a big old like on this one because it's gonna be good. Marvel Team Up number 59. Some say Spidey will die by fire. Some say by ice. Published on July 1st, 1977. Writer, Chris Claremont. Penciler, John Byrne. Inker, Dave Hunt. Cover art, Al Milgrom and Dave Cockrum. Well, as we usually do, let's check out this cover. It's your classic, oh my gosh, the hero is dead cover. And just how often did we, the innocent comic book reader, fall for this cover ploy? It's been used for years. I don't know if I've ever really actually fallen for it. I'm sure maybe the first time I saw it I did and thought, oh wow, the hero is dead? Better buy this. I'm sure that's the appeal. That's what they're going for. But did anybody actually ever fall for it? I don't know. What about you? Did you ever fall for this? And if you did, why don't you tell us about it in the comments below? It's still fun to see the drama though. So as far as splash pages go, this one is a good one with Spidey being roasted by flame on one page and then knocked unconscious by an ice battering ram. So one thing I wondered about this first page was Spidey saying that there was no chance to dodge the fire blast, and if he doesn't let go of his web line, he'll burn. I don't know why that is. I mean, whether he holds on to the web line or not, he's still burning. I just thought it was an odd thing to say, but hey, I've never really actually had fire blasted at me, so I don't know what is typically said in conditions such as these. So, meanwhile, while Spidey is getting bolted and blasted and ice battering rammed, at the penthouse duplex of Janet and Henry Pym, Janet, aka the Wasp, and Henry, aka Yellowjacket, are looking to have a nice evening at home once Henry actually gets out of the lab. He mentions he's modified his Yellowjacket powers and increased them tenfold, which is a significant upgrade, I would say. They see a flash across the river. Oh wait, did I mention that this scene takes place about 4 minutes before Spidey got hit by fire and ice? I didn't. Oh, I am sorry, but that is the case. Yellowjacket finds Spider-Man and takes him back to his home with the Beast watching. Sure looks like him, but we all know that's probably not the Beast, but that silhouette sure looks like him. So Spidey wakes up confused, but Wasp gives him some hot cocoa so things will be okay. They ask if he has any enemies with fire and ice powers, and really, all Spidey can think of is the Human Torch and Iceman. Aha! That must be who's behind this. They have teamed up to kill Spider-Man. That makes sense. That's the only logical conclusion. Oh, no, wait. Spidey recalls that Torch and Iceman did meet a villain with those powers, Equinox, the thermodynamic man. Now, hopefully I'm saying Equinox correctly. I think so. Sometimes superhero names and supervillain names can be hard to read if they're very exotic, such as Equinox, but I think I got that one right. One of the things I love about this is Iceman on his ice slides. I always thought that was a cool way to get around the city, but you have to wonder, once he's done with that, you've got this giant ice slab hovering over, 10, 20, 30 feet above a street of New York. That thing's going to melt. Those things are going to fall. They're going to hit somebody, or they're going to hit a car or something. I don't know how he avoided lawsuits like that. I'm sure it's probably explained offhanded in some panel somewhere that, they melt very slowly, so it's like rain hitting everybody. I doubt that's the case because ice doesn't really melt like that. But hey, it's comics. Anyway, Torch and Iceman fought Equinox in Marvel Team Up 23, which was when the Human Torch would occasionally headline instead of Spider-Man. And also, he's wearing his red uniform. I love that one. Didn't last very long, but it was really cool. That's a mark of a mid-70s comic when you see the Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, in his red uniform. So now that we know who the bad guy is, it's good timing to have him bust into Pym's penthouse. And for some reason, Equinox wants to kill Spider-Man. but what are his motivations? And I'll be honest, I don't think we ever really found out what his motivations were. Maybe we do, and I just don't remember. Guess we'll find out as we make our way through this episode. The Wasp goes on the attack, but her stingers do next to nothing. And I would like to pause and marvel, pardon the pun, on how Byrne drew the Wasp shrinking here. The human, the full-size body form silhouetted, and the concentric circles going down to her wasp size, that is really, really cool. Nice touch. So Yellowjacket, with his souped-up powers, manages to blow Equinox out of the window. Now, I don't know if you remember this or not, but Yellowjacket used to use a blaster gun for this type of stuff, and they incorporated, I guess in this issue, they incorporated that blaster into his wings. So he's got that nice Kirby crackle going on with his wings and shooting out the power blast. I think it's an awesome look and makes a lot more sense than holding a gun. Yellowjacket, by the way, is my favorite of all the Henry Pym personas. It's just too bad they ended up kind of ruining that character, but that is a whole different episode that maybe we'll get into someday. So as Equinox falls, a woman who is chasing him screams out, "Terry!" claiming he'll be killed by an 8-story fall. Does she not see the fire and ice? Because Equinox, or Terry, does save himself just like Iceman does with the ice slides. It's interesting, though, if these powers are new, or relatively new, he certainly has a keen control of them, because I would think the ice slides would be kind of an advanced level use of ice powers. So in the battle, Wasp gets batted by Equinox, and while she's not hurt, she is pissed at Yellowjacket because while he's upping his powers, she just has her stupid little stingers that never hurt anybody. Pym starts to argue about it, but there is no time. We've got a supervillain on the loose. Meanwhile, the woman chasing Terry has a big gun for some reason, but before she gets a chance to fire it, Equinox throws a car at her. Luckily, Spidey saves her. So who is this woman? Well, Terry lets it slip by calling her mother and then Margay. Margay? Not really sure how to pronounce that one. Equinox was easier to pronounce than this woman's name. Margay. It's one of those. So we also know that Equinox is Terry Sorensen. Yellowjacket and Equinox go one-on-one for a page or two until Equinox has him backed up to a fuel truck. Equinox shoots a fire blast and kabloomy! Man, this is a fantastic page of the explosion. Byrne, as usual, does a great job capturing the shock in Janet's face, and I just kind of like the overall architect of this particular panel with the large explosion and then the rectangular shots along the side of each character's reaction to this explosion. But hey, wait a minute. This does mean that Yellowjacket dies. Wow, it actually came true. The cover was right. So, of course, Equinox survives, and he's got to face a royally peeved Wasp. And, of course, she gives her vengeance speech that, well, you killed my man, and that's something I'll never forget, never forgive. You get off on death, animal, then the Wasp will give you a death your own. And that's a tune in to next month. See what happens. This is great stuff. I think this is one of my first, as I said before, I think this was one of my first Marvel team-ups. I can't remember if I actually knew who Yellowjacket and the Wasp were. I probably knew who the Wasp was and maybe had some inkling of who Yellowjacket was, but not in any in-depth. As I said, this is probably one of my first times reading, and I went back, obviously, and got back issues and everything, and learned to really love the characters, really love Yellowjacket. I think that's probably one of the reasons why Yellowjacket is my favorite Henry Pym persona, because this is how I was introduced to him. I'm a big believer that your first relationship or experience with either a character or thing or whatever is always what motivates your primary way of liking something. Like, for instance, if you use a PC before you use a Mac, you'll probably always like a PC or an iPhone over an Android, that type of thing. Yellowjacket over Giant Man. You know, one thing that was also cool in this issue is how Byrne portrayed Equinox's powers. Every time he shot ice out, his hands were on fire, and every time he shot fire out, his hands were iced. Check it out. It is true. I love that juxtaposition of his powers. I don't know if that was something that was established in Equinox's previous appearances, or if Byrne came up with this on his own. I doubt if Claremont wrote it, mainly just because there's no real reference to it, I don't believe, in any of the words. So I wonder if that was a Byrne thing. If anybody happens to know, please leave a comment, because I am probably not going to research that. It was just a really cool little touch. So what happens to the Equinox? Will the Wasp beat him silly? And how does Spider-Man play in all this? And is Yellowjacket really dead? Well, you know what? You're going to have to wait till next time when I review Marvel Team Up number 60. So, Tune in then, and I'll see ya.